All right. The entity sounding helicopter activity. Remember, that's the significance of the people of the state using my office phone as a method of audible activity before I send emails. This is the entity that they're acting in concert with. All right, that is audible activity. They use my office phone as a means of creating audible activity while they're monitoring what I'm doing on the venue of the internet in violation of Title 18, Section 22618, subsection. Carla Lopez is engaged in criminal presence under the guise of being an employee for a third-party company, engaging in state surveillance, okay? He's going to federal prison, all right? The Nova Contractors is here, engaged in federal group stalking and monitoring inside of 1803, engaging in what is the misuse of a business, that demon of 1808, number 5, using his vehicle as a method of light activity and audible activity right now. Nova Contractors, subject to civil and criminal prosecution, and the third party that is here inside of building 1800 apartment number 3, working on the vacant unit that I was speaking to with regard to the Palo Alto employees who are going to federal prison, engaged in federal stalking in concert with that state, that's flying directly over my office, using my office phone as a means of audible activity while they're monitoring the email that I'm preparing to send. All right, those are the elements of monitoring underway while they're literally watching me type it up. These are psychopaths. They watch me type it up, and then as soon as I'm getting ready to send it, or as I send it, creating audible activity. So what does the entity do as I start documenting that? Flying over in helicopter, which is exactly what the people of the state are doing. The entity, because it's not necessarily, you could have a demon-possessed police officer calling from a phone app, calling my phone. So let me not limit it to, this is the entity that calls my office phone, and they do that with simultaneity to what I'm doing on the computer. And as I document that, the entity flies over by helicopter. As I remain and continue documenting in video, the entity was sounding more helicopter activity. As Precious Bastillos comes to my office, which is another method of audible activity monitoring, and hostile to documentation, and the entity is engaging in what is flying over my office again. Carla Lopez is group stalking while being on the job. That systematic engagement in the state's pattern of conduct is grounds of federal prison. Let me be clear, that impunity is inherent to being an employee for a third-party company. So every day you're coming to work, you're threatening the life of the targeted individual. Every day that you arrive under that malicious guise of engaging in that system where the entity is tormenting you and following you around in helicopter, you're going to federal prison. While you're engaging in what are methods of harassment, changing the standards, changing the rules from that which was previously required because the targeted individual has learned whatever it is that's required, and then you're repeatedly changing that, and that's because you want to find something to criticize about the targeted individual while you're keeping them under surveillance, while you're monitoring everything. The target individual is not talking to just these 4 people. I'm in an email exchange with the whole entity. Okay, they are monitoring what's going on online. That's why you have the simultaneity of conduct while I'm on the phone or talking an email, responding to what the entity is arriving in helicopter. The entity knows exactly what's being responded, and that's not funny. It's directly incriminating. Rosie Shearing and Susan Chu have added their names to those affiliated with third-party speaker companies engaging in group stalking and monitoring, engaging in what is posing an impermissible threat. While you document the people of the state, the entity engages with what is more life-threatening conduct, arriving over my workplace in helicopter, pursuant to a well-documented pattern of conduct where that same entity engages in kidnapping me, creating information in concert with the people of the state who want to create some false narrative that you're not complying with standards or that you're not doing your job up to par. And let me be clear, I am an overqualified employee. The ordinary targeted individual does not have this skill set, does not have this weaponry, if you will. I am exposing and I am prosecuting, okay? Understand the position of the ordinary targeted individual. All manner of what is lying about your job performance, creating information in the same way that they make it up in order to get you kidnapped by that entity where they're monitoring you. That's what's happening. That's what that is. That's a failed attempt. I'm going to prosecute you for that. I don't care if you add smiley faces. I don't care if you add "have a great day" as your salutation. It's the same criminal system. And it does not change while the entity is still stalking in a helicopter over my workplace. Okay? So they're going to federal prison. They are engaged in federal stalking on the venue of the internet. Everything that's occurring on this computer is documenting criminal conduct while the state's criminal system of surveillance is underway. Okay, this is all federal stalking with the intent to keep one under surveillance in the workplace. This is all happening on Todd Speaker's watch as well. Everybody that lives at Alvarado Gardens is going to federal prison, and those that are employed by speaker companies are going to federal prison. All I did was document Rosie Shearing and Susan Chu, who went out of their way to participate in what is communicating in an email that I have somehow missed some deadline. This is relevant to the performance of your job. This is an entity that's communicating as one. looking, failing, but looking, searching, creating, lying about the targeted individual that they're monitoring, that they're obsessed with, that they're stalking. Okay, remember, this is demonic activity. So you have a whole government that is exhibiting this obsession because they're demon possessed. All right, and you have very many important things that a police department should be focused on. But unfortunately, the Los Angeles Police Department is showing what their focus is, and it's on, draining resources to keep helicopters full of gas so that they can stalk me 24/7. And that's not an exaggeration. So that they can do psychotic things such as fly in circles all around me, all around where I live and where I work. All right, that's a humongous use of resources. And they're doing it where they're doing it is relevant. They're doing it in the specific environment. And this is the P.O.C. where that is underway. It's 11:51 a.m. The entity engages in what is calling from, again, random numbers. And then I call that number back and it doesn't even work. Because it's the significance is to create audible activity, okay? While demons are keeping me under surveillance in the workplace. All right, it is currently 11:52 a.m. and this is documentation of what is workplace harassment, terrorism, and sexual violence by an entity who was also on the venue of the internet. That's the significance of the third-party group stalkers in Palo Alto affiliated with speaker companies, okay? This is P.O.C.